is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back here with some more Resident Evil content for you. And today I'm going to be talking about a certain trailer that was released basically regarding a whole celebration, an ode to horror and Resident Evil. In the last 2 days, Resident Evil, Capcom basically released a little two to 2.5 minute trailer basically giving a homage to the whole Resident Evil franchise and showcasing people and their experiences with loved ones or themselves over the course of years. Now, this may seem harmless enough, and I could have definitely used a lot without the terrible overreacting. Obviously, they pay a lot of these people to force these reactions, and I get it. It's hard to get so many clips of genuine reactions, especially over the course of history. I mean, they could have if they really wanted to put the effort, but I get it. I understand. It's not the point. It seemed like, they're just, talking about the history of Resident Evil. But that's the thing. When you watch this whole trailer, there's something very peculiar about it. Something you might not have noticed, but maybe you did right off the bat. Something that's missing. Because while they showed off a lot of Resident Evil games, there was one particular type of Resident Evil game that was missing. They showed off a lot of the newer titles. They showed off the remakes. They didn't go with any of the side games. They went with more the major titles. But there was a kind of major title that was peculiarly and ironically missing from this whole thing. Oh my gosh, what could they possibly be? Yeah, it's an honest mistake. Capcom forgot to put in the OG 1, 2, and 3. It's an honest mistake. I mean, anyone could have done that. I mean, they obviously would have put in, but they didn't forget. Okay, obviously, sarcasm aside, they didn't put in the original OG Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, kind of ironic considering all the things we've talked about, how Capcom seems to be completely trying to forget, suppress the history, the old history, and just completely rewrite it and just, ironic enough, just not include it. Not really an ode to history, ode to horror and Resident Evil if you're only going to include certain parts of it. I mean, you're basically missing the whole beginning 5 years, and I'm talking about Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3, the originals. I don't think there was anything from Zero or Code Veronica for that point too, but yeah, nothing of the OG stuff, and I want to focus more on 1, 2, and 3 because here's what just kind of hurts me and just makes it weird. Like, wouldn't it make more sense? Like, this whole trailer, it shows different people playing, and most of them are playing on, modern consoles and stuff like that, regardless of what they're playing on, but wouldn't it make more sense to have this? I guess this would just be too much trouble for Capcom to do, but wouldn't it make more sense to have like someone in those early 1996, late 90s years playing, on a PS1 and getting those first horror bits? Like I said, to show you the dog scare, that's very infamous as one of the big scares of all time in Resident Evil. Just having someone experience that, and then 20 some years later, that person has children and they're having their children experience, Resident Evil for the first time, as well as some of the newer titles and stuff like that. And you could show the course of families growing, people getting older, getting more family members over the course of years through PS2, 3, 4, and 5. Wouldn't that make a lot more sense if you want to do an ode to horror? Like, I'm not no, trailer making master or something like that, but that'd just be the most obvious thing to do. But no, of course not. That just makes way too much sense, and it gets into my theory that if you have been watching this channel, but if you are new, I'll let you know, which a lot of you already know where I'm going to go with this. My theory in terms of how Capcom is doing everything in their power to basically forget and just pretend that the OG Resident Evil titles do not exist. They rarely ever mention them. They're trying to rewrite them in history and basically making the remakes the preferred titles now, which, once again, if you like the remakes more, that's fine. If you like the OGs more, that's fine. Why can't we just have both of them? But no, they just basically want people to only, I guess, remember the remakes and completely forget about the old ones. Well, I'm not going to be one of those people to do that, because you wouldn't have the remakes if you didn't have the OGs to set the floor. I mean, you wouldn't have Resident Evil if you didn't have those first 5 years. And unfortunately, I'm like Jill here, patiently waiting for Capcom to do anything with these OG titles. And I've already come to the conclusion that these decisions of Capcom not including the OG titles are not money based. It has nothing to do with money, in my honest opinion. You know, I can't prove what I'm about to say. It's just more of a feeling in my experiences, and I'm basically going on to think that this has nothing to do with money. I think they know they'd make a lot of money with it, but they don't care about making a lot of money in this case. It's more of a personal reason. There's something personal to them where they do not want to include OG in just about anything. I know some people might say, oh, well, they put them on GOG. No, that was GOG doing the work. Capcom just gave them the thumbs up to do it, because it's not something that Capcom put in a lot of work to make it done. It was GOG doing all the work. So it just fills in more of that theory, because I'll be asking, well, why isn't it on Steam? Why isn't it on, anything that more people would play more than not? So it's more thank GOG for having the ability to play it like that. And then some people might say, hey, you could play other ways. Yeah, you could, but not everyone's going to have the option or want to play other ways. What is so hard about putting it on consoles, whether physically or being able to download it? Like, what is so taboo about that? I mean, you have the whole Tomb Raider collection basically going to be here before we get one of the OG titles. That's one, not all of them. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense at all. And it just goes into the theory that it's just more of a personal thing. There's something personal to the point where, you have Capcom here looking like, complete asses, celebrating history of Resident Evil, but forgetting the first 5 years. The 5 years that forever put Resident Evil on the map. Without those 5 years, we don't have, the stuff we have today. We don't have the franchise where it is today. Those first 5 years forever established it in what it is today. Like, we don't have any of that stuff. So all the titles that you may like that came after the original titles, you wouldn't be celebrating them and be happy to play them if you didn't have those first 5 years. Never forget your roots, okay? I'm not saying that you can't possibly move past your roots a little bit, but you can't completely forget and never name them and just completely leave them absent either. Like, that's the part that just makes no sense to me. And I'll say this once, and I've said it again recently, and this is something that I just don't understand. It just goes towards me trying to sell a product to you guys and stuff. You can't tell me this wouldn't be the most value-packed product you've ever bought for Resident Evil fans, period. Can you imagine if they had a value pack where you could get, since the first 4 Resident Evil titles, Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and 4, I guess technically not the first 4, but you get where I'm going with, Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and 4, since they've all been remade, just imagine a value collector's pass or pack or whatever, where you can get Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, and 4, the OGs and the remakes together on one disc or download digitally if you want to. You can't tell me that would not sell like hotcakes for like a holiday season or wherever they may release it. That would make so much money. You'd have people having both ways to play these games and keeping their histories alive. And also, as I said, the Capcom could possibly go the extra mile and do similar to what Tomb Raider did. We're add like a photo mode, have the graphics change from the OG to the newer graphics, even changing controls. But that's if they put more effort. They probably won't to the OG games, but that would be such an amazing thing. But unfortunately, Capcom just doesn't want to do anything. As I said, it just feels more personal. I don't care about the money. It's just more personal. And I don't know if it's they have some dislike towards some of the people that worked on his older titles. Like maybe they have some dislike towards Shinji Mikami. Maybe that's why we won't get any type of Dino Crisis the way they treat that franchise as well. But unfortunately, that's his theories I came up with. Let me know your theories. Why do you think they treat the OG Resident Evil titles like this? Let me know that in the comment section down below. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. And hopefully I can see you guys back in the next one. Thanks, and I'll see you all later. Peace.